Wisconsin women's basketball coach Robin Pingeton has been ready to get to work since she was hired nearly 3 months ago. The roster is coming together. The preferred style and tempo is being designed, and now we're closing in on the ultimate test of putting it all on the floor. I sat down with Coach Pingeton at the Big Ten Summit in late May to discuss a new beginning for this veteran coach.
Just a lot of great opportunities, to be honest with you. It's a little bit like drinking out of a fire hydrant, if you will, but just having a lot of fun. Recruiting's been really good. Portal recruiting has kept us pretty busy. Still living out of a hotel, a long way from being settled, but just enjoying the opportunity every day.
What's been the approach in recruiting for you, whether it be traditional or into that portal?
Yeah, you know, portal recruiting's interesting. It's almost like, I know everyone says it, but it's kind of like speed dating. And things happen so fast. And so our approach has really been to be super transparent. This is who we are as a staff. This is what our vision is. And here's our non-negotiables. And if there's a fit, great, let's continue the communication and get you on campus. And if not, there's a lot of players and a lot of coaches out there. And so I just think it's so important that you get the right fit both ways. And so I always think transparency is the best policy. And we've been really fortunate to put our, I think, a really good roster together.
So what for you is that vision, and what does a good fit look like for you?
You know, we've got to have players that can obviously help elevate our program in a really tough league in the Big Ten. You know, players that are really passionate about the game. Skill development's a big part of what we do because of the system that we run. And then the culture piece in the locker room. You know, I just think that's really important. You know, if we're doing our job right as coaches, you come in as teammates, but you leave as sisters. And, you know, you're just able to build some really special, I think, relationships and have some really great experiences together. And so, you know, just the transparency where we want to get to. Everyone wants to play in March, right? And so who are those players that can help us get to where we want to go and understand at the end of the day it's bigger than any one of us?
I know the system can vary a little bit based on the roster you coach to the personnel that you have, but you've been doing this for a while. So what is it about the system that you have that you believe works?
Yeah, you know, we just want to play really fast in transition. And again, this has evolved over time. I'm a lifelong learner, and I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of it is predicated on the players that you have and how do you put them in a position to be successful. But ideally, we want to recruit to players that can play in transition. You know, this is such a tough league, and have to grind it out in the half-court sets makes it really challenging. And so players that can play in transition, we like spacing's really important. Motion concepts, read and react, really important. And then defensively, we're pretty scouting report specific, and so that'll vary from game to game. But players that are really gritty, hard-nosed, you know, want to get on the floor for loose balls and just want to compete at a high level. Is what our vision is and what we're trying to get done.
What are the challenges inherent in that? That's a lot of chemistry to build in a pretty short amount of time.
It is, but I think it's also a great opportunity. You know, it all comes down to how you look at it. And I just think, you know, if you're really transparent in that recruiting process about what your vision is and, you know, what you want that locker room to look like and what the practices look like, and just really be a straight shooter, I think, you know, that goes a long way. And that's what players want to hear, is just the realness of it. I just feel really good about who we got coming in. I can't wait to get on the court with them. You know, as a coach, all you want to do is be on the court, and we haven't had a chance to do that yet. So really looking forward to getting everybody up to Madison.
At the end of the day, success is measured by wins and losses, getting to the NCAA tournament. But at least early in a tenure, there are other ways to measure success and growth. How do you envision yourself measuring that, at least in year one?
From there, but you know, we know we've got some challenges. You know, they've struggled as of the last several years, and so you know, getting people to buy into your vision and you know, is going to be really important. But we've had a lot of positive momentum. I think we've got a lot of players that are really excited about the opportunity that's in front of them.
You've coached championship caliber basketball at the highest conference level. So when you look back at maybe some of your both teams, is there kind of a golden thread, if you will, that connects the best teams that you've coached?
You know, I think there definitely is, and I think that culture piece is really important. It always has been. It'll always be about relationships to me. I know we live in a transactional world right now, and that's the new modern day of college athletics, and we've been able to embrace that, but we also don't want to lose the relationship piece and the opportunity to have a positive impact on your players and create an environment that they can thrive in. And I think that's key. You know, culture seems so long term, but if you create that environment that everybody feels seen and heard and valued, and create a space that they can be the best version of themselves they can be. I think that can be really powerful. But that locker room piece is really important, and a lot of coaches talk about it for sure. I think it's so important as a coach that you're super intentional about carving out that space to be able to build those relationships. And you're right, it happens in a short period of time, but you've got to prioritize things, right? And maybe you sacrifice 15 minutes of practice or 20 minutes of practice to spend a little bit more time in regards to the team building and opportunity for players to kind of let down their guards and really, get to know each other on a deeper level.
You use one of the buzzwords now in college sports, transactional. I would say that adaptable, especially as it relates to coaches, is another one. How have you continued to adapt to the changes? Probably more changes in the last 3 to 5 years in the sport than maybe in the history of the sport before these last 5 years.
Yeah, but I think it's an exciting time for college athletics, and you get a chance to, be a part of that next era and, blaze a new trail. And I think it's how quickly you can adapt. I've always prided myself on being a lifelong learner. And we're in a transitional period right now in college athletics, but I think there's so many opportunities out there. And so, really important that, with your administration, with other coaches, having that open mindset, how do we put our student athletes in the best position possible to have success on and off the court?
We're also in an unprecedented area of growth, popularity, and interest in the women's game. How cool has it been for you to be a coach and watch this happen? Yeah,
really cool. I've been super blessed in my career and have seen a lot of great players and great coaches over the years. And, for the longest time, Pat Summitt, blazed such an incredible trail with many, many others. So I don't even want to start naming names, but it's just been really, I think, exciting and rewarding just to see the growth, especially over the last couple years, and just the opportunities in the W, and hopefully that will continue to expand, and the opportunities to continue to play professionally. Just a really, really awesome time to be a part of college women's basketball.